Hello, I'm filming this week from Silver Spring, where we're hosting our annual Montgomery Serves Neil Potter and Roscoe Nix Awards. The awardees are an amazing group. I don't have the time here to tell you about them, but I will say I feel grateful to be county executive in a county with residents like each of them and all of you. Coretta Scott King is quoted as saying, "Struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in every generation." We should keep these words in mind as we celebrate Juneteenth this weekend. Although Juneteenth was first made a national holiday last year, Montgomery County has been honoring this important historical milestone for decades. This year we have a full slate of Juneteenth events and activities for everyone to enjoy, engage in, and learn. On Friday night, we're hosting the African American Living Legends Award. On Saturday morning, I joined Councilmember Jawanda for the official renaming ceremony of the Silver Spring Library. Signage will let everyone know that it's now the Brigadier General Charles McGee Library. The former Tuskegee Airman and American hero spent more than 30 years here in Montgomery County. It is our great honor to forever be reminded of his connection to our county. All day Saturday is the 25th Juneteenth celebration at the Black Rock Center for the Arts in Germantown. It'll feature food, crafts, and fantastic artistic performances, as well as some soul, jazz, and Caribbean music. On Sunday, we'll be announcing our new affordable housing project in the historically Black community of Emery Grove. This is an exciting collaborative effort with Emery Grove United Methodist Church, the Housing Opportunities Commission, the Parks Department, MCPS, and the county. Together, we're working to use county land to create affordable home ownership and rental opportunities and to restore a vibrant and historic community that disappeared under the guise of urban renewal decades ago. Juneteenth is an important time to celebrate with our Black community, recognize and learn about generations of racism and oppression that actually happened here in the county, and recommit ourselves to efforts toward equity, inclusion, and reconciliation. This Saturday is also the Silver Spring Blues Festival, happening from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. It will house multiple bands throughout the day, wrapping up with an all-star jam around 9:15 that night. This week, we held our annual event to remember the homeless, especially those who have died. I think COVID really highlighted the urgency of ending homelessness. We've worked hard to provide more resources and opportunities for temporary shelter and permanent housing. Within the last year, we've finally been able to end the practice of only providing shelter during 4 months of the year. The recently opened Neville Street Shelter is not just a bunch of beds. It also gives people a place to be during the day and resources to help them find additional assistance. We've also provided an additional $3 million for the rental assistance program and $2 million for rapid rehousing efforts to continue the investment after federal COVID funds run out. I believe that these combined efforts are helping us better care for this vulnerable population, and we will continue our efforts to provide safe and secure and affordable housing for all. Speaking of affordable housing, let's turn to the legislative work being done this week here in the county to help tens of thousands of families. We've been hearing from you with warnings landlords and rental properties have shared with you that rent prices are about to go through the roof. In some cases, up to 20% increases are planned in Potomac, North Bethesda, Silver Spring. This problem is not unique to Montgomery County because all over the nation, people are saying the rent is too damn high. Rent has been steadily increasing since January 2021, and nationally, it's more than 17% greater than it was last year. Landlords with fewer available units are charging higher rents, and at the same time, for-sale home prices continue to climb. Renters are being left with few options but to pay these rising rents. Our office and the County Council are working to make sure those rent increases remain reasonable. We've proposed a 4.4% cap on those increases. If passed, rent stabilization members would take effect immediately and last for 6 months. The percent increase was determined after looking at the Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index, a standard used by the housing industry. It's not ideal because we're still talking about increases of hundreds of dollars in some cases, but this will help account for several years of frozen rent. Developers say they need it for inflationary expenses, but they've been itching for rent increases since before prices got sky high. We're trying to provide some stability in the rental market, which serves close to 40% of the residents in Silver Spring. We've heard from tenants who've been in their building for close to 15 years who suddenly feel like they have nowhere to go. Census results showed that between 17 and 20% of renters in Maryland have not been able to get current on rent, consistent with the county survey of multifamily tenants. The council and I recognized these impacts when we extended protections from unrestricted rent increases earlier. Those just ended on June 1st. Our residents are already being impacted by the growth of inflation, high gas prices, and food prices. They simply cannot absorb extraordinarily high rent increases at this time. We need to act, and I encourage your support and engagement on this issue. Right now, people who are more than 2 months behind on their rent can apply for rental assistance if COVID-19 played a role in putting them behind. The deadline for that help is closing on June 30th. Through the Montgomery County Rental Relief Program, we've been able to help more than 10,000 families catch up on late payments and stay in their homes. Let us help you if you're eligible. Good news on the COVID-19 front. Our 7-day new case rate sits just above 229 cases per 100,000 people. That's about half of where we were reporting it a couple of weeks ago. In May, we had 21 deaths in Montgomery County due to COVID, and that's a 63% increase from the April totals. But our death rate is still remaining far below the state and national averages. Our lower rates of death and hospitalizations are mainly attributed to our overall high vaccination rate, and specifically our high vaccination rate with older residents and those who are immune compromised and therefore the most vulnerable. Ever since the beginning of this pandemic, I did not want to see those images that came out of New York City of body bags being pulled from apartments and refrigerated morgues on the street. That was not going to happen here in Montgomery County. Keeping our residents alive and safe from this virus has been our priority number one since the beginning. We are succeeding as compared to other jurisdictions, but we still have to remain cautious, even when so many want to move on and pretend that everything is back to normal. I'm happy we're back to a better place, but it will take work to make sure we all stay in good health. Next week, we anticipate sharing more information about community clinics for another round of COVID vaccinations, this time targeting children between 6 months up to 5 years of age. Cleaner air, healthier homes, and good jobs. Those are just 3 of the intended results that will come from the legislation that Councilmember Hans Riemer and I sent to the County Council. The Comprehensive Building Decarbonization Bill would require all electric building standards by January 1st, 2024 for new construction, major renovations, and additions. The use of natural gas would still be allowed for new restaurants and commercial kitchens. This legislation is the next step to achieve our climate goals to reduce 100% of carbon emissions by 2035. We need to move away from fossil fuels and replace those older technologies with things like electric heat pumps, electric water heating equipment, and in homes, electric cooking elements. It's bold legislation like this bill that will ensure tomorrow's construction is centered on human health and reducing our climate impact. Changing the old ways of doing business will go a long way forward to fulfilling the climate change goals that every municipality should be striving for, and Montgomery County is leading the way on. Last weekend, I joined Delegate Jared Solomon, Delegate Leslie Lopez, and Senator Susan Lee, and local gun violence prevention advocates for a rally in Wheaton before the March for Our Lives on the Washington Mall. The outrage over the proliferation of mass shootings and gun violence finally has moved the Senate to create a bipartisan deal. This is the first time it looks like Congress might pass something addressing gun violence in 30 years. This deal will allow states to implement red flag laws, increase background checks, and provide additional scrutiny on all who are under 21 trying to buy weapons. It also closes the boyfriend loophole that would prevent gun sales to domestic violence offenders and tighten regulations on gun sellers. It's not enough, but it represents movement in the right direction for the first time in a very long time, far too long. I'm pleased that this proposed deal also comes with money for community health clinics. This federal aid is needed and would be utilized to get these clinics up and running as soon as possible. I've been pushing and discussing the need for these community clinics for the last month or so, and I'm optimistic that we'll be able to access federal funding to move this forward in the county. However, this bill does not ban assault weapons nor raise the age of purchase on guns, so there's still a lot of work to do, but at least there's some progress being made on the Hill. On a sadder note, we have experienced multiple incidents of hate crimes in Montgomery County over the past 2 weeks. On May 31st, KKK imagery appeared on the internet app searches for Damascus High School. On June 2nd, in Kent Mill, anti-Semitic flyers were posted at a ride-on station. And last week, on June 7th, swastikas were carved at a Marc train station in Garrett Park. Over the past weekend, flyers from groups affiliated with the KKK were also discovered in Chevy Chase. Our residents are rightfully concerned, and we want to assure them that we are mobilized, vigilant, and are investigating each of these incidents. I'm appreciative of the leadership MCPD has shown in collaboration with these communities on these incidents and in ensuring our community members that they can feel safe. Whoever is responsible for these incidents should know that they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The Jewish Community Relations of Greater Washington, together with the Anti-Defamation League and community partners and police, will be hosting an upcoming webinar to discuss the increase of these incidents around our county and our response. This week marks the last week of school for MCPS students, and I want to thank and appreciate all of the students, parents, teachers, and staff and administrators for their hard work, patience, and perseverance during an unprecedented school year. It was full of tough challenges and incredible obstacles. I specifically want to congratulate Dr. Monifa McKnight on her first school year as our new superintendent. I wish the entire MCPS family a safe summer. Before we leave, there are two things I want to acknowledge. First, congratulations to 2022 Tony winner from Montgomery County, Thomas S. Wooten High School graduate Miles Frost, who became the youngest solo winner of the Tony for Best Performance by a Leading Actor in a Musical. The 22-year-old's role as Michael Jackson in MJ, the musical, was his Broadway debut. And finally, happy Father's Day to all the fathers on Sunday. Have a great week and see you soon.